In a less than surprising move, the Quest 3S is already the top-selling device in the video games category of Amazon in the US. With the Quest 3 trailing behind at third, the new Quest 3S is such a low price point at $299 for a VR MR headset, but it also seems it's created enough buzz to bring the Quest 3 back into the limelight and show up on Amazon. The only thing standing between the two right now, the PlayStation 5 Pro, which shows people have some spending ability at the moment if they're spending $800 on PlayStation 5 Pros. If you don't know the 3S headset, it's a new light version of the 3. It just launched fully, has all the same internal hardware as the Quest 3 for $200 less, but with the old Quest 2 style lenses and screens inside of it. We have an early review that came out because we got to have it a couple weeks before launch. If you missed that, I'll leave a link at the end of the video, but already it looks like a lot of people are jumping on and buying this thing, and if you haven't and you're interested, we'll leave some links in the description comments down below in case you want to get yours. More and more reviews are coming out on the Quest 3S, and a surprising fact that we found in our review and that other people are discovering too is that although the Quest 3S is considered the light or the inferior version of the Quest 3, it does have some things that are actually better about it than the Quest 3. Two of the black dots that look like they're basically just plastic on the front of the 3S are actually IR dot blasters, so they're helping create points in the room that the headset can see even in low light conditions. One thing I found in my review was that you could play in a pretty much fully dark room. The room that I was in at the end did have closer walls, the curtains were nearby, but there was almost no light at all, and the headset still tracked the controllers, still tracked my hands just fine, meaning as long as you're in a smaller room where those IR lights are going to reach the walls that they need to, you could get good enough tracking to watch a movie in bed or even play a game in a low lit room, and you just don't get that same low light warning you get on the Quest 3 a lot. Upload VR confirming this with their dark room test, showing the hand tracking working really well in the dark, but pointing out that even in more normal situations, the hand tracking stays far superior to the Quest 3 in that mid to low light range. And this overall makes for a better hand tracking situation for most games, especially because people are playing in rooms that don't have bright lighting on them or the room around them, or when they turn in the game, they may turn away from the light in their room. But seeing that the hand tracking initialized faster, it handled the faster motions better, and had a lot less of those false positives where you see your hands doing something they're not really doing in real life. This is good news for those people who are going for that cheaper 3S, that they do get a couple extra positives, including an action button on the bottom, which we've known about, but that gives you a dedicated button to switch back and forth between immersive mode and mixed reality, unlike the old 2 taps on the headset that if you've ever used that, you know can be unreliable or can just happen when you're trying to move the headset around, especially when you're showing the headset to new people. It's cool to see that, but I still stand by my recommendation that if you have a Quest 3, you don't really need to get a Quest 3S for any reason unless you have other people in your house you want to play cooperatively with and you don't want to spend another $500 on a Quest 3. I reported to you last week how that one company, VR Villa, they're the one that does VR zones all over the world at different conventions, and they just show people VR for free for the love of VR too. It's a passion project of the owner, Jeff Baz. He takes us around to conventions, lets people try the headsets for free just to try and spread VR further, even though he doesn't have the ability to sell headsets or any way to benefit. But because some companies did support his event, they actually had some extra Quest 3s to give away. So there was one giveaway with 3 Quest 3s, and I told all of you out there, and it sounds like 2 out of 3 of those Quest 3s actually went to members of our community who went and entered into that. Congratulations to those winners. But because of the great success of that giveaway, they're doing one more giveaway. If you want to enter, there'll be a link in the comments and description down below. They're giving away another Quest 3, plus a ton of game devs jumped in on this and gave a ton of game codes in there. So even if you don't need another headset, there's a bunch of game codes they're giving away. On top of that, we have a Quest 3S giveaway that's ending this weekend, and we still have a current Quest 3 giveaway. So right now there's just a whole lot of giveaways going on with the holiday season, with all of your support out there. So if you want to enter in any of those, make sure and check that top comment or the description down below to get entered. Some of the more mainstream tech channels are bringing the Quest 3S into light, and rather than comparing it to the Quest 3, are actually comparing it to the Apple Vision Pro, with people asking the question, well, for a $300 headset, something that's less than a tenth of the price of the Apple Vision Pro, can it compare in any way? I'll leave a link to the full write-up if you want to look, but there have been a lot of charts that have come out that are showing side-by-side comparisons with the Quest 3S and the Quest 3, showing how the field of view, of course, is still superior on the Quest 3, but how it's lost some features like the headphone jack and the proximity sensor while adding something like an action button. And funny thing, when you look at the chart of like how does this compare to the Quest 2, same thing, it lost the headphone jack and the proximity sensor the Quest 2 had, but it does support 6 GHz Wi-Fi 6E, unlike the Quest 2. But in the most surprising one, probably in the comparisons against the Quest 3S and the Apple Vision Pro, you do of course have the Fresnel lenses, which are widely known as being the inferior lenses on the 3S. But the Apple Vision Pro actually has a shorter field of view where the Quest 3S has a taller field of view. It is just a simple piece of plastic, but there is technically glasses support on the Quest 3S, unlike the Apple Vision Pro. And the surprising one is also the 6 GHz Wi-Fi 6E is available on the Quest 3S, but not on the Apple Vision Pro. Obviously, no one is going to claim that the Quest 3S is a better headset than the Apple Vision Pro side by side, but for the price difference and the fact that you get these other features, the ecosystem, it is pretty compelling that you can get this headset for $300 or pay $3,500 for the Apple Vision Pro. And looking to the future, The Verge actually got to sit down with the CTO, Andrew Bosworth, aka Boz, who we've talked about before, and talked a lot about Meta's direction of the future in all of this mixed reality realm. Boz confirmed that Meta's working on earbuds with cameras, which is a similar idea of what's going on at Apple. This sounds really weird on paper, but when I think about the Meta glasses that I have that I use, a lot of times, mostly when I'm traveling, I use them to listen to music, but I also sometimes take videos, behind the scenes footage, or even pictures with them. The fact that the camera is on the front makes more sense, but if you really had earbud cameras, especially with the way that the AirPod Pros have that long, ugly stick that sticks out the front, maybe it's possible to really put a forward-facing camera on there that would be useful. A pair of mixed reality goggles that they've said are more steampunk-like, probably something in between what we're seeing with the Quest and now with the new Meta Orion that look just like glasses. He confirmed that the La Jolla, or the Meta Quest Pro 2 as people are calling it, has been canceled. He confirmed that there's multiple projects going on in the AI realm and that they're also trying to continue their work with Luxottica, the company that basically owns all the glasses in the world and the ones that help them develop the Ray-Bans. And we've already seen reports before that there is a Quest 4 coming 2 years from now, so that means Quest 3 or even the new 3S owners are going to get a lot of mileage out of their headsets. But it looks like finally the future of mixed reality, virtual reality, whatever you want to call the whole realm, is bright. Long dead are the days of people having multiple articles and YouTube videos saying VR is dead, VR is dead. It's finally evolving into something that may not only be great for gaming, but something useful for everyday consumers. What do you think? What are you hoping to have in the future? Are you hoping to have something like the Orion that's just a pair of glasses, but also has full augmented reality capability inside? Do you want a headset that can still do fully immersive virtual reality, but can be worn everywhere you go during the day? Let me know in the comments. Behemoth is one of the big titles we're waiting for by the end of the year. This is basically kind of a retake on Shadow of Colossus, but fully in VR. And they've shown demos of this, but so far they've mostly been using the PSVR 2 due to its extra power, leaving people wondering, how is this actually going to look standalone on Quest 3? Although the video provided is only 720p, so what you're going to see here on the screen is a lower quality even than what the headset looks like. It does look like they've been able to stretch the legs on the Quest 3 pretty far to really bring in good looking textures and details, distant backgrounds, probably utilizing the fog to help with rendering. They still do make these monsters look humongous when they're in front of you, leading me to believe and hope that the Quest crowd who tries this is still going to get as good of an experience. Personally, between being wireless when you're climbing these things, I believe I would probably be playing this on Quest 3 even though I own a PSVR 2. I just find that little bit of extra immersion from not dealing with a cable is still worth it most of the time for me, although I did get my racing rig set up again just to play Gran Turismo on PSVR 2. When you're seated already and being able to have that level of graphic fidelity in VR, it is really nice. We reported a couple times how people were reacting to the idea of their pass-through camera footage being given to developers or having them be able to have access to it, and it sounds like Meta has finally made the decision to allow that access. They say that this will add all kinds of cutting-edge MR experiences because they'll be able to use much more accurate points around your home as they build these, and this should happen early next year. This does raise questions and privacy concerns as to how is Meta going to handle what's being broadcast outside of your home, what kind of images can be seen, can any sensitive information actually be gleaned through these cameras on them. I know for most people this doesn't seem to be a big concern. A lot of people put cameras in their home just to monitor their pets or their kids and don't really think about the fact that those cameras are hackable. But what do you think? Does this raise concern for you? Does it change any of your opinion about how and where you would keep your headset or how you would use it? I know personally, even with the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, I do think about it a lot when I'm wearing them while I'm traveling and I run into somewhere. I think about, there is a camera on here right now, and if I had this turned on to listen to music, technically that camera could be accessible to someone, but maybe I'm being tinfoil hat about it. What do you think? Meta seems to be doubling down on their Quest Plus subscriptions and really trying to get people to go for these. If you're not familiar, Quest Plus is kind of similar to like PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass. You pay $8 a month for a subscription. Every month they give you 2 extra games. They're not necessarily always brand new games, but you get to keep access to those games as long as you keep your subscription. Well, now they are adding big title release from last year, Asgard's Wrath 2, to the library, and that's always going to stay there. Then, of course, they dropped 2 more additional titles, Zombieland Headshot Fever and Down the Rabbit Hole. 2 games that I would say Down the Rabbit Hole is really great for a one-time through. I really enjoyed it, but probably not something you're going to spend much extra time playing. And Zombieland, when I tried it at launch, I wasn't terribly impressed with it, although I've heard updates since leaderboards, things have made it more interesting, but it was just an arcade shooter and not something I would spend a lot of time in. But with Asgard's Wrath on there, that does bring up the question of how much more worth it can this be, especially at a game that was originally priced at $60. I mean, you can get a year subscription, so it makes the price tag much more worth it. What do you think? How are you feeling about the Quest VR as a whole right now? What are you spending your time in? We're just days away from Batman launching, and if you got a new 3S or a new 3, you get Batman free. So make sure you redeem that when the time comes. All of you are showing up here. The channel's been growing again really fast, as it seems to do during the holiday seasons, because all you show up, people are getting new headsets, they're looking for information on it, and luckily we're here for you for all of that. So thank you once again for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in another reality.